You're watching the TGM production. Hello. Just before the review of Last One Laughing UK, it is 7:14 AM on the 2nd of April 2026. I am 8 minutes away from the end. Let me just give that a gander. 8 minutes away from the end. Bob Mortimer, he's been excellent this series. Now, if I had to predict, without giving away any spoilers of what's happened at the final episode, but if I had to predict who from episode 1 I thought was going to win, at this present moment I have no idea who does win, I would have said Bob Mortimer. But the further you get on with the series, I think Sam Campbell's in there to win, I think. So you start off, everyone probably does this. The moment Bob Mortimer announces he's going to win, he won it last time, he's going to win it again. But then when you see Sam Campbell at play, even though Sam Campbell might be not the one that everyone knows, the more you watch him on the series, the more you realise. But then when you watch him on Sunday Brunch, you try and work out, does he laugh on Sunday Brunch? No. In any programme he's been on, do we see him ever laugh? And that's the question you have to ask yourself. So with 8 minutes left, I don't know who's going to win. It's anyone's game, but I'm not going to spoil who gets down to the final two, because that's where I'm at. But I will say it's not as messy as the Australian version, but I'll explain more of that in my review. So enjoy! Hello, I've just seen the final episode of Last One Laughing UK, and I'm currently listening to the final episode of Last One Laughing official podcast, hosted by Roisin Conaty. Here it is. I've got 23 minutes left of the final episode of the Last One Laughing podcast, which is an Audible original, and I've just seen the final episode. This review contains spoilers for Series 2 of Last One Laughing UK, and I'll wait until we're about 10 minutes in before I tell you who has won and my thoughts on the Last One Laughing UK Series 2 winner. This series overall has been very strong, has been fun, and apparently, don't quote me on this because I don't know if it's true, has had about 4 million viewers. Its streaming number probably will alter over time, but at the moment it's 4 million, and it's been renewed for a third series and a Halloween special. I haven't seen the Norwegian, the Danish, or the Swedish Halloween specials, so I don't know if the Halloween specials work, but I know the one I saw, which was called Last One Screaming or Laughing in France, didn't work at all, and it was horrendous. So I'm concerned about the Halloween special, but it depends on what comedians they get. Could they get some of the League of Gentlemen in, because they're Halloweeny? They're the horror types. I don't know, but that'll probably be announced later date, because that's coming out later this year. Last One Laughing or Screaming. I'm assuming they're gonna go with the French title, or just call it Last One Laughing Halloween Special, like what Norway, Denmark, and Sweden do. Anyway, so I really enjoyed this series. I think Bob Mortimer doing 3 songs instead of 2. One that goes, "You're a nut job, you're a bin bag, da 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 da." Then the other one was based on Slender People, was about dental nurses, and the third one was about the love of your wife. So what I find funny about Last One Laughing UK is that everyone thinks, not everyone, but a lot of people end up thinking, didn't slender people get through gaps and slender ladies sweet in slacks? Did that come from Last One Laughing UK? Oh yes, it did, Gene. Yes, it did. And my answer to that is no. I saw it first online years before, probably about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years before Last One Laughing UK. And someone else will say, well, I heard it 10 years previous on Mince. I think it's Absolute Mince, the podcast. His podcast. And then you're like, well, where did it come from? So I think the new songs were more likely to be Last One Laughing adjacent, but I know that the Slender People and then the altered version of that were before. And Eyes on Legs, who's a fantastic musician, did a remix of Slender People way before Last One Laughing did Slender People, because it was released on the Spotify. So, getting more back to the origin and the overall conversation piece to do with Last One Laughing UK Series 2, I think that it really worked really well. It was funny. I think Diane Morgan on the fart machine reading the story was good. The Jokers are always the best. I think in Series 3 and onwards, they should include... I can't remember exactly what it does, but I think they should include the black and white cards. I think one of the cards, if I remember rightly, I don't know if this is coming straight from the Japanese original, but I think the white card, if I'm not mistaken, is one where if you showcase it, then they have to play a game with you. Whoever you select has to play the game with you. So I think that would be interesting to include. So I think a few format points from international versions. I do think all the versions can't decide whether or not they want to give any money away to the comedians' charity or not. Some versions do that, some versions don't. I sort of think that works really well in the UK, because it means that it's not going to end up running out the budget that it has. They're not forking more for the money that not necessarily is needed, because we don't really need I'm doing it for this charity because of this, that, and the other. It's all about the concept rather than anything else. But I think that David Mitchell doing the musical song "What I Want to Picture," what I want to picture, and I can't remember the words. I don't actually know what the song's called, which is really annoying because I quite like musicals. I've got a musical film coming out at some point on Checkmate. It's where I discuss my top 3 favourite musicals of all time. And I think that what's interesting about Last One Laughing, in general, that it works really well in Britain. I think it's the first English language version to get a second series. Ireland failed at doing that, but the Irish version became more popular due to the UK version being popular, and if the Irish version was popular enough, they would do a UK version. So I'm a little bit confused why there's not been a second series of Last One Laughing Ireland. Last One Laughing Australia is really good. There's a few others, but I'm not going to get there. If you've heard my opinions before when I was 8 minutes left, you will know, and if you've seen my film on Tom Mason, my Doctor Who film, I mentioned it briefly, but now seeing the ending, yes, they're a lot more messy at the ending in Series 2, because I feel like what makes the format work when they walk in with one idea, and in the end, you just see Sam Simmons stood in a paddling pool in a nappy. I think it's a funny concept, because that wasn't where it was at the beginning. I think the more mad you get, the more weird it is, and the more funnier it becomes. But I think it really works in the UK, overall. Now I'm going to stop dilly-dallying, right? We are 7 minutes in, and what I'm about to say to you now is one giant spoiler for Last One Laughing UK Series 2. The time is 8:06 on the 2nd of April. We are 7 minutes and 29 minutes into this version of the film, and I would like to say congratulations to our Series 2 winner. Bob Mortimer came, Sam Campbell came, and David Mitchell came. Well done. Mel Gedroyd came, and so forth, so on. I'm giving a round of applause to our series. So Series 2 winner. But I do want to say commiserations to everyone that was out from the beginning of episode 6. backwards. The Last One Laughing UK podcast, which is the first podcast of that type, is fabulously fascinating because it's what we do really well, I think. The companion shows we do on TV, so Apprentice You're Fired, The Traitors Uncloaked, Bake Off, The Extra Slice, are cracking, they work, right? And then having the podcast, the Taskmaster, the podcast, and Last One Laughing UK, the podcast, could have been TV series of their own. But I think that, like, Thronecast was a TV show. So I think that the winner did an excellent job. It was one of those where it's like, will they ever laugh now? And you have to ask that question of anyone that gets to the final Last One Laughing, are they ever going to laugh again? Because even when the game's over and the confetti cannon's gone and the song Pure and Simple, I think it's called Pure and Simple by the Lightning Seeds. Pure and Simple, I think it's Lightning Seeds. Anyway, I think that you would think, will they ever laugh again? But the winner probably will laugh again, but the runner-up, I'm slightly concerned, because they weren't still laughing. The runner-up wasn't still laughing. Didn't even crack a smile once the game was over, which I thought was really odd. It was extremely weird. But I think that if you want to say what disappointed me was when the people were out that didn't get to play their Joker. Last year in Series 1, John Wilkinson came back and did another Joker and blah, blah, blah. But what really annoyed me is that no one from the gallery went down and did their Joker to try and move the game along and try to get more people out. And I was slightly gutted on that front because that's what I think would have enhanced it, because then we would have seen what certain people's Jokers would have been, because I want to know what Amy Gledhill's Joker would have been. I want to know I'm trying to think of people that didn't do a Joker. There wasn't many, might I add, but I just would have wanted to see a few more Jokers from the people in the gallery. I do think that Roisin Conaty should be allowed to pop in and do a Joker. I do think that should be a rule that they give, because I think that she's got the comic ability there. I think that my favourite moment of the whole of Series 2 is, and I'll demonstrate with the Art of Song, you're a bimba, you're a nut job, da 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 da. So Bob Mortimer singing the second song to Diane Morgan, and then when she says, I think I regret that. Right? Fair enough. It's fair enough that you regret it. La 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 la. Woo! But it did give Eyes on Legs a lot more ammunition to do remixes, because it's done 3 songs now. Yeah. I think Bob Mortimer was strong. I think Bob Mortimer, Sam Campbell bring, technically David Mitchell bring the weirdness to it, which is what you want. Bring the alternative to Ankar's sort of traditional observation stand-up. It's now traditional. At one point it was alternative, but it's now traditional. So I think Sam Campbell being off the wall and Sam Campbell being sort of traditional to be alternative in the new version of what the word alternative means was excellent to see throughout the show. I think his Joker of a bird, him trapped in a cage dressed as a bird, a vicar saying, oh, I don't want to be a naughty vicar, or something on those lines, and then Mark Silcox comes out as the naughty vicar and says something incredibly rude, I think is an absolute sort of interesting way to sort of go, and an interesting way to sort of take the show and take the series and do it in that way. He's bringing in other performers into your Joker, and I think that makes it really interesting. I think that Richard Madeley being involved is fascinating, because you could have chose anyone. Was Richard Madeley the funniest? When you ask comedians which news reporter do you think is really funny, did they all say Richard Madeley due to a lot of accidental partridge moments? I don't know. We didn't get many special guests as much as last time. We did get the Natasha and I can't think of her name, who were both in Staff. No, Natasha was in What Do We Do in Shadows and Staff Lost Facts. Natasha Dimitri, which is Jamie Dimitri's sister, and I can't think of what she's called. Ellie something. Anyway, they did a sketch show together on BBC Three that's returning for a second series. They appeared in this as intimacy coordinators going through a hat through the door. That's 2 guests. Richard Madeley, that's 3. But last time we had Alison Hammond, Nick Mohammed, Danny Dyer. We had quite a few last time. So I'm a little bit sort of gutted on that front. I think overall it was a strong series, overall it was a fun series, and overall it deserves the accolade it's going to get. Series 1 is up for a Audience Choice BAFTA. Ironically, Alan Carr's up for 2 BAFTAs this year in the Audience Choice because he's in the second series, The Last One Laughing. Even though it's not his series that's been up for the nomination, it is still a show that Alan Carr's now on. And Celebrity Chases, Alan Carr winning, is up for the general public nomination at the BAFTAs. So, 2 shows I cover here on Reality Show World have been added. Have been nominated. I think this series, The Last One Laughing, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It wasn't the winner I wanted, so I had my prediction at the beginning who I wanted to win. The winner that won, I was happy that they won, because I think they did an excellent job, but the person I wanted to win, sadly, I'm gutted that they didn't win. And then the other person, so when you watch, let's say, The Great Pottery Throwdown, at the very beginning of the show, I personally choose 3 people. I think I want one of them 3 to win. I don't mind if they end up leaving, because then I've still got 2 potential winners. At the beginning of The Last One Laughing, I had 2 potential winners, and sadly, my 2 potential winners didn't win. Without spoiling it, I'm not going to go there. So, I think that I'm really happy with the way the series went, the way the series was, and I do think the Jokers are some of the highlights. The Jokers and Bob Mortimer singing are some of the highlights, or Sam Campbell asking all the random questions and lifting up Bob Mortimer and making him laugh is another absolute highlight for me. But overall, I think that I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Now, here on Reality Show World, just before we end, if you look at the banner, you'll see that I've added some more shows. So, here in the UK, we've got the UK version with the German version coming soon for The Hunt, Prey vs Predator. The Hunt is the name of the format where you've got your prey and running, and the predators have to chase after the prey, but you'd rather be a prey than a predator. I added Race Across the World because here in the UK this year we got our first glimpse in years of a version of Race Across the World. Celebrity Race Across the World Australia is what we got given. So this is the first time in decades that we've been able to watch Race Across the World here in the UK. So I really enjoyed The Hunt and I really enjoyed the Race Across the World. So I've added those to the banner. That means that there'll be 2 more shows I'll be covering along with the other wide variety of shows. I will make a film at some point talking about what shows I am covering here on the channel, so that you know exactly what they are, because some of them, like An Easel, is for Portrait and Landscape Artist of the Year. Used to be the same judges, and it's made by the same people, it's presented by the same people, and it's in the format called Artist of the Year, because they do Portrait Artist of the Year, Landscape Artist of the Year, and Masterclass Artist of the Year, where the previous people that have appeared on Portrait and Landscape do tutorials on Sky Arts in a Bob Ross fashion. So, overall, I absolutely adored Series 2 of Last One Laughing UK. Well done to the winner of Last One Laughing UK Series 2. Your secret is finally out. Right, I'm off now to go on A, edit this review, and B, continue listening to the Last One Laughing UK podcast that is excellent and I hope returns. This means I hope that once they've I think they should do a series where they review other international versions of Last One Laughing and get people from around the world to do it, like the Taskmasters People's podcast. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye. Hello, Editing Tom here. Just before you see the end of... just before you disappear, watch something else, and you can watch some more TV. I am 17 minutes and 22 seconds into episode 6 of the Last One Laughing podcast, with 14 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. Now, I am currently editing the thing, and in the review, I talk about My Fair... I don't talk about My Fair Lady in itself, but I talk about David Mitchell's Joker, where he sings, what a picture, what a picture. Now, I knew which musical it was from, but I couldn't remember the name at the time of recording, which was only a few minutes ago, but now I remember what it is due to the fact that I've been reminded of it from the Last One Laughing official podcast. I'm giving them the credit rather than me, but it was My Fair Lady, was it? I love My Fair Lady, but I am so annoyed that I forgot that's where the song was from. But I thought I'll pop that into a review to be able to mention it.